Hello and welcome. So today I have for you fragrances that are truly fit for royalty. These are the type of fragrances that you do not want to pull on the regular. You don't necessarily want to make them your signature scent, but instead you want to reserve them for very special occasions. Not necessarily like a formal event or wedding or anything like that. It's just that these are fragrances that will evoke in you a feel of like regal, grace, elegance, opulence, right? So these are fragrances that you want to pull when you want to not only feel beautiful and empowered, but also walk with a certain grace, very similar to that of true royalty. So today I have for you 7 fragrances, and they are also the type that when you unbox them, that's where that experience of royalty vibes starts. So I have 4 of them that I will be unboxing for you. Now, I've already had these fragrances for quite a while, and I have used them, of course, in order to provide this review, but I just took the bottles and put them back in their boxes because I want you to see the type of experience these fragrances will give you. It's not just about the packaging and the beauty of the bottle, the exquisite detail, but it's also about the blend of the fragrance. It's about the quality of the ingredients involved. So whether you're about to attend a board meeting and you just want to make a statement, or you're going to a wedding or to a gala or to the opera or to the theater, just for when you have a special occasion where you want to feel truly regal while also being elegantly sophisticated. So in other words, these are the type of fragrances that you want to pull when you want to command attention. You are not trying to be demure. You're not trying to go below radar. No, these are truly fragrances that will command attention. They're not necessarily beast mode. That's not where the attention comes from. It comes from the way they make you feel, the way they will make you talk, walk, and your scent. That is what will define this complete vibe. But let's go ahead and jump right in because we have quite a bit to cover. But if this is your first time here, I'm Arahi, and I'm your fragrance concierge because I'm totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos multiple times a week, and on this channel, we love to talk about all types of fragrances. So if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in, and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave a comment. Let's go. All right, so before we jump into the fragrances, let's talk a little bit about the Spirit of Dubai, in case you're not familiar with that fragrance house. So the Spirit of Dubai is a fragrance house that is based out of the United Arab Emirates and was established in 2015. They are known for their ultra luxurious niche fragrances that capture the grandeur of Dubai. This is a fragrance house that has multiple collections. The first one is known as the First Generation, which focuses on niche fragrances. And I believe there's a total of like 11 fragrances that are part of that collection. The second one is called the Second Generation Ultra Niche Collection, and there's 7 fragrances. And then the third collection, which is the one where I'm going to share a couple of fragrances for you today, is called also the Second Generation, but this one is more about the Accords. So it's called the Accords collection. Today I'm going to be sharing with you, as I said before, Narjesi, Fleur, and then I'm also going to be sharing with you Aamal Metallique. Something that you really need to know about this fragrance house is that they're also accredited with the most expensive fragrance in the world, which is Shamouk. And that retails for $1.2 million. So of course, we are dealing with a fragrance house that truly embodies the ultimate luxury. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with our first fragrance, and I'm going to do the unboxing for you because you cannot miss this. And this one is from the Spirit of Dubai, and this one is Narjesi Fleur. Now look at that beautiful, beautiful box. A total luxury experience. And by the way, this fragrance was sent to me. So then you remove this sleeve. So as you remove the sleeve, here you go. And then it gives way to this case. And you open it such as this. And it has this to protect that part of the fragrance. And then you pull on this tab and it will bring the fragrance forth. Now, once it is out of the box, look at this beautiful case. I mean, it is absolutely exquisite. And then look at this buckle here. Amazing. So of course you press on the buckle and that will allow you to slide it out. So I've already removed a protector, but it has, in addition to all the little pads that you saw that fell out, there's also like a plastic protection here to make sure that the fragrance does not come out of the case. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out, and we have to be really careful. Okay, so here is the beautiful fragrance. And let me tell you, so this rose here at the top is a real rose with real diamond dust. If you can see there, see that detail? Beautiful, absolutely exquisite. So Narjesi Fleur to me is a very sophisticated and exotic musky floral fragrance where the rose does play a very, very important role. Now, it is important for you to know that, we are talking about black roses, but black roses really don't exist. When you hear the term black rose, they're really referring to a rose that is really a very, very deep, deep red, to the point of being almost like burgundy and giving it that look of like bordering on being black. But it's really not a black rose because that does not exist. Now, that being said, as I mentioned before, the rose on the cap of Narjesi Fleur is truly a rose, and it has been dusted with real diamond dust. So Narjesi Fleur is a fragrance that, and another thing I wanted to let you know is that they recommend that you only pull the cap from the base, not from the top, of course, to not, damage it in any kind of way, but it's also magnetic. I mean, they have thought about everything. So anyway, so Narjesi Fleur is a fragrance that opens up with a very, very present and dominant rose. Now, this rose is definitely a fresh and very crisp and young rose. There is nothing jammy or dated about this rose whatsoever. In addition to that rose, you're going to get quite a bit of warm spiciness. I can't distinguish any specific spice in the opening, but it is definitely a warm, spicy opening where the rose is dominant and it has a tad of airiness coming from some citrusy notes. As the journey continues, you are going to pick up on other florals, but it's not like you're going to be able to really distinguish anything else but that rose. When the other florals come in, the rose takes like a backseat, not becoming faint, still playing a key role, but very well balanced with the other florals, because what I get is like a floral scent that speaks to a bouquet of florals, not specifically to one or the other. Also, as you approach midway in the olfactory journey, the fragrance becomes quite aromatic and the woodiness shows up. And when I pick up on that woodiness, I clearly pick up on the note of patchouli. And the patchouli has been done very nicely, so you don't have to worry about that. But the patchouli does bring a tad of earthiness to the fragrance, which I believe adds quite a bit of character to it. Now, something very important for you to know is that this is a fragrance that does have ambroxan. So for those fam members that are really sensitive to ambroxan, this one, unfortunately, is truly not for you. But at the dry down, you are going to get an exquisitely, when I tell you exquisitely beautiful and very, very, I won't say so much different, but there's a level of refinement that really sets this fragrance apart. It is an ambery, sweet, floral scent on a backdrop of some woody notes and a present musk. The musk here is like a level 3. It's not animalic in any kind of way. The feel of this fragrance is that of an individual who is quite different. They are present, but don't necessarily speak much, but their presence alone makes a statement. This scent also speaks to an air of sensuality. And again, the complete vibe of the fragrance is that of like royalty. There is a grace to it that I really can't explain. Truly a very, very different fragrance that will set you apart. But I do need to let you know that, again, this is not a below radar kind of fragrance. For me, this is perfect for all year and best suited for the ages of 25 plus. And it has no oud. It does have that musk, but the musk is a level 3. The performance is absolutely exquisite because on my skin, it does border on beast. It is not a beast mode fragrance whatsoever, but it does give me a full day wear with a strong projection during the first couple of hours. Then it becomes a scent bubble. And towards, I would say, around hour 4 to 5, it does become an intimate skin scent, but one that will continue to linger, because the thing about this fragrance is that the sillage is quite powerful, like interesting, right? You are going to leave a trail of this scent wherever you go. The next fragrance that I have for you is also from the spirit of Dubai, and this one is called Aamal Metallique. And here you go. And of course, once you remove the sleeve, then it gives way to the same packaging, but this one is in a different color. Look how beautiful. And then of course you pull it here and then you just pull out, and this will give way to the beautiful fragrance. So Aamal Metallique is a little bit different for me compared to Narjesi Fleur, because this one is more, for me, the vibe is like of a young royal, right? The feel is still very much regal and that grace and that overall like royal feel, right? But this one speaks to more of a youthful spirit. Not necessarily that you're younger in age, but more of a youthful vibe, truly. Now, this is a fragrance that was launched in 2025, and this opens very, very citrusy and fresh. It almost opens making you believe that it could be a freshie, but to me, this is not a freshie, and I'll talk more about it, but it does have a very citrusy and fresh opening with a tad of greenness, and I think that greenness is coming from the note of petite grain. As the journey continues, you are going to pick up on a bouquet of florals, and this is a fragrance where you're going to pick up on white and yellow florals. But to me, the two that really stand out to my nose and on my skin are the tiara flower and the ylang ylang. But other than that, you really are not going to be able to distinguish many of the florals specifically, but truly this is a bouquet of white and yellow florals. Now, very interesting is that midway in the olfactory journey, the fragrance becomes tremendously aromatic. And in addition to that, a slight fruitiness, like a very faint fruitiness that you pick up in the opening, now becomes very present. And that fruitiness makes the fragrance a tad sweeter than what it's been, and also gives way to a perfectly done creamy coconut note. To my nose and on my skin, the coconut is present, not dominant, but it's very present and it's very creamy. And it's all there together with all those other fruity notes. In addition to the coconut, I do pick up on the black currant, but other than that, I don't pick up on many other fruity notes. Now, as you approach the dry down, the scent remains the same as the scent that you had midway in the olfactory journey, where you had the florals and the fragrance was aromatic, and you had a little bit of that like petite grain that always adds a tad of greenness, because the greenness is an accord that is not going to go away. At least on my skin and to my nose, the fragrance remains a tad green. But as you approach the dry down, you're going to pick up on the woody notes. You're going to pick up clearly on the patchouli. The patchouli is smooth, but it is present. So I would say you have to enjoy patchouli to a certain extent. It's not dominant, but the patchouli is present. And in addition to the patchouli, you are going to pick up on the sandalwood. And there is a bit of earthiness at the dry down to the scent itself, in addition to that bit of greenness. Now, at the dry down, you are going to get a floral fruity scent that is absolutely incredible. Truly, the scent of this fragrance really will take your breath away. So it's a floral fruity scent on a backdrop of some woody notes, where then you're also going to pick up clearly on the oud. It is truly not until the dry down that I at least pick up on the oud. The woody notes do appear as I approach the dry down, but it's at the dry down where I get those clear woody notes where the oud is part of that mix. So you have the sandalwood, the patchouli, and the oud, and the blend is absolutely exquisite. But it's a floral fruity scent that is sweet, not very sweet, but it is sweet, and also a tad green with a certain degree of spiciness. But the spiciness is not fresh as you may have experienced in the opening. The spiciness is a bit warm. All in all, the olfactory journey of this fragrance is quite incredible. It is a joy to like spray it and go through the journey and have all those experiences. But at the dry down, the blend is just unbelievable. Now, in case you're concerned, this is a fragrance, as I said before, that does have oud, but the oud here I would say is like a level 2 to 3, which means that you are going to pick up on the oud, but the oud is smooth and beautiful. I dare say that if you're not used to sniffing oud and trying to detect oud in fragrances, you may not even pick it up and think that it's another note. Because the oud here is very, very smooth. It's not barnyardish in any kind of way, but to my nose, it is definitely present, just not very present. The fragrance has absolutely no musk. I don't pick up on any musk, and I think that this is perfect for all year. You can really pull this all year, and truly you can use it for any occasion because it is a very, very beautiful, incredible scent. But I just think it is so, so special, and the feel of it is so, so special that I would say to pull it for an occasion where you really want to feel a different kind of way. Now, something very important about this fragrance, it is totally unisex. I don't think that it leans to the feminine or to the masculine side whatsoever, but it is a fragrance that performs exquisitely because on my skin, it does border on beast. It gives me a full day wear with a moderate projection, but a very strong sillage. And that is where the magic resides because this is the type of fragrance that is going to get you all types of attention. Now, as I said when I started to talk about this fragrance, this to me gives me the total vibe of someone who is very modern, very open-minded, someone who tries to set their own rules, but still respecting the establishment, right? Like respecting what has been in place all along. This individual is very graceful, is very much set apart from everybody else, and again, will command attention, but without having to push it too far. This is truly the feel of this fragrance. It is definitely more of a modern vibe than what I find in Fleur Narjesi. It's a totally different vibe when it comes to that. And again, it has nothing to do with age, more like your perspective and your disposition and attitude towards everything around you. So the next two fragrances that I'm going to share with you are from another fragrance house, and this one is Spirit of Kings. Now, this is the first fragrance that we're going to discuss today, and it's Allegiance. But before I do that, let me just tell you, so Spirit of Kings is based out of the United Kingdom, and they've been in place since 2014. If I recall correctly, they have 6 different collections, and today I'm going to be sharing a fragrance, one from the Gardenship collection and the other one from the Compassion collection. But wait till you see the unboxing of this fragrance. So Allegiance comes in this beautiful, beautiful box. And we're going to go ahead and open here. And then it gives way to the case. So this is the beautiful case. And as you can see, it has like a royal emblem and everything. And when you open it here, it gives way to the gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. I mean, look at that. So I have to tell you that the bottle alone speaks to that royal luxurious experience altogether, because not only is the bottle absolutely beautiful, but then look at the details, like the gem at the top of the cap and then all the stones throughout the cap. And of course, it is a magnetic cap. But the entire experience with this fragrance is just absolutely incredible. Now, this is a fragrance that opens up sweet and very fresh with a certain degree of like a citrusy quality to it, but not completely, because what I also get is like an evergreen kind of scent, which I think is coming from the note of juniper. But in addition to that, as the journey continues, you're going to find a very strong floral presence, which really speaks to the way that they've described the fragrance. But within those florals, I pick up on white and purple florals. And the one that does stick out to me is the lavender. Within the white florals, I pick up on a couple of them, but none of them really take a lead role. To me, the lead role in the florals here is definitely the lavender. The fragrance does have also an earthy quality to it and is quite aromatic. And it also has a tad of greenness. I don't know where it's coming from, but it is very clear to me. Also, the dry down is definitely powdery, not very powdery, but it is very powdery, almost like bordering on fresh powdery, if you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, this is an exquisite floral fragrance that is based on a very strong musk, though. You must know that, because the musk here is to the tune of like a level 4. It's not animalic in any kind of way, but it is definitely a very present musk. So at the dry down, you are going to get a slightly spicy floral sweet scent on a backdrop of a musk and woody notes. But the fragrance itself, the scent, speaks to special. To me, this is a fragrance that is suited for all ages and for all seasons. And I would say that this is unisex, but it does lean a tad to the feminine side. The performance here is beautiful because it does give me an 8-hour wear, no more than that, because this is not beast mode in any kind of way. I don't think it was designed to be beast mode anyway, but it will give you a full day wear, and it is a fragrance that will definitely command attention without being a powerhouse, which I think is part of the beauty of it. I totally agree that this fragrance does have a flirty vibe to it. I don't agree with the fun part. I just think that it's very flirty, almost like being to the point of being a little bit like coquettish, if you know what I mean. But definitely a beautiful, beautiful scent that does have that royal feel to it, and one that will definitely command attention wherever you go. The next one that I have for you is another one from Spirit of Kings, and this one is Harmony. Now, I think that I forgot to tell you, but the 4 fragrances that I've reviewed for you so far have all been sent to me. I want to make sure that you do know that. So, of course, you're going to open this one like we did the other, and then I'm going to pull it out. And here you have a similar case as in the one that we just reviewed. And then you open it and look at this beauty. This one, for some reason, had like this sleeve to it. And here is the gorgeous bottle. Of course, with the same jewel, but a different color, at the top of the cap, and the details. Absolutely luxurious. Now, this one was launched in 2022, if I recall correctly, but the important part here is that the perfumer behind it is no other than Christian Provenzano. And this fragrance, of the 2, this one is my favorite. I have to tell you, there is just something so special. It's like as soon as I sniff it, it just awakens me and it gives me that royal feel immediately. Like I'm special, definitely. Now, as I share with you the journey, you'll understand why this one may be my favorite, because you all know how I love an incredible passion fruit note. And here, that is the opening of this fragrance. This one opens so fruity with a very present passion fruit note. But the passion fruit note is balanced with some citrusy notes. In addition to the passion fruit and those citrusy notes, there's also the note of pineapple. And I clearly pick up on the pineapple and the passion fruit on like a backdrop of those citrusy notes. As the journey continues, I do pick up on a violet. But, although they have disclosed it as violet leaves, I pick up on the violet. And needless to say, the dry down of this fragrance is powdery, like really powdery, but not cloying in any kind of way. but still there's like a beauty to that powderiness at the dry down, because the scent of this one is absolutely incredible. As the journey continues, the fragrance becomes quite ambery, making it perfect for the fall season. It is definitely very ambery, and the woody notes appear, making themselves very, very present, with a very present sandalwood that brings a certain degree of creaminess to the scent itself. There's also a tad of a mossy quality to the scent as you approach the dry down, at the dry down and throughout the wear of the fragrance. And I think that that mossy quality is the one that adds quite a bit of character to an otherwise floral, fruity fragrance. There is musk in this fragrance, but it's to the tune of like a level 2 to 3, and it's not animalic in any kind of way. For me, this is a fragrance that you can pull throughout the entire year, and you could definitely use it for any occasion, but I highly recommend that you keep it for those times where you really want to feel regal and graceful and special and beautiful, because that is the total vibe of this one. Now, the next 3 fragrances that I'm going to share with you are 3 that I've already reviewed here on the channel, but they are fragrances that really embody that royal feel. So I'm going to share them with you, but I'm not going to take too long. So the first one is from Royal Crown, and this one is Guerlain. And here is the gorgeous bottle. And, Royal Crown is truly, for me, I just don't understand why we don't hear more about their fragrances, because this is a fragrance house that is based out of Italy, and their fragrances are known to be very, very luxurious and very exclusive. This is not the type of fragrance that you find just everywhere, but I don't hear many people talk about it. But I absolutely love the DNA of this fragrance house, and although it is pricey, sometimes you can find it at a good deal, and I will try and find a good deal for you. And I will leave links to all of these fragrances and a discount code where I have one available in case you're interested in picking up any of them. But this fragrance does come in this smaller bottle, and it comes in a larger 100 ml. So, that will allow you to also try it. But this is a fragrance that opens up very spicy. And if I recall correctly, this was launched in 2018. It opens very spicy with a very, very present and even kind of dominant cardamom note. What I love about this fragrance is that as the journey continues, you're going to get a fruitiness coming from the note of dates. But the dates are combined almost immediately with a very present vanilla that will come into the picture and will never leave. This is a fragrance where the dates do take a very, very key role in combination with those spicy notes, and the fragrance is warm spicy. At the dry down, you are going to have the exact same combination of like that fruitiness with like that spiciness, because this is a fruity, spicy fragrance to me. But at the dry down, you are going to get oud, which brings quite a bit of character. And I think that's what adds to that allure of making it have that royal feel, because the oud here is like a level 2, which means it's going to be very smooth. It's not barnyardish in any kind of way, but it is definitely an oud that you're going to pick up on. But it just complements everything very, very nicely. Still at the dry down, you are going to pick up on those spicy notes, and you're going to pick up on the dates clearly on a backdrop of some woody notes where you are going to have some cedar, some oud, and there's definitely a touch of vetiver. The one thing that I do pick up in the fragrance but has been faint for me, and I've had this fragrance for a while, it's still faint for me, are the florals. And the only floral that I really pick up on is the jasmine. Other than that, this is a fragrance that I highly recommend. You can use this one truly for any occasion, but again, I would reserve it for those times where you want to feel really special. Unless you're having like a week where you're not feeling too good and you're feeling a little bit down and you need to, an uplift in your energy, then maybe you want to use this for everything, because you could. Wear whatever you want, when you want, and how you want. Remember our motto. But this is a fragrance that I think is suited for any age, for any occasion, any season of the year. It is non-offensive, even though it does have that oud, and it has no musk. I pick up on no musk whatsoever in this fragrance. The performance is stellar because it does give me a full day wear with a moderate projection but a strong sillage, and a fragrance that is going to make a statement no matter what you use it for. You could wear this to the gym and you're going to be making a statement for sure. The next fragrance that I have for you, and by the way, before I continue to move on, I wanted to let you know that when it comes to Royal Crown, the unboxing experience with these fragrances is absolutely fit for royalty. It is exquisitely beautiful. I couldn't bring it to you because I've had this fragrance for a while, and all of my Royal Crown fragrances I've had for a while, and the boxes are long gone. I just can't keep everything. Imagine if I start storing all of the boxes for all of these fragrances. But I just wanted to let you know that. But the next fragrance that I have for you is one that is really, really special. And I don't understand why this fragrance has not received more attention. And I also believe that it should have been rated much higher than what I find in most places. But this one is from Roja, and this is Lost in Paris. And here is the gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous bottle. Now, Lost in Paris is a one-of-a-kind fragrance in my collection because here's the thing. This is truly a gourmand, okay? But at that, this is not just any gourmand. This is an elevated, sophisticated, fit for royalty gourmand, where you are not going to smell like food, but you're kind of going to smell like food, and there's an inherent yumminess to it that I can't even explain. This is a very complex olfactory journey. This is not your regular gourmand fragrance whatsoever. But if you are a gourmand lover, I highly recommend that you do get your nose on this one. This is not a safe blind buy. Please do not blind buy this fragrance. Get yourself a sample, or better yet, a decant. Try it on skin. I have already reviewed this fragrance here on the channel in detail, and I have the unboxing because the unboxing is stellar. The unboxing, like I have other Roja fragrances, and the unboxing is always pleasant. But this one, oh no, this was beyond extra luxury, truly. Now, this is a fragrance that will open up very, very musky. The musk here is to the tune of, I would say, 4 to 5. And in addition to that, to my nose and on my skin, it is a tad animalic. But that is what gives this fragrance so much character and sets it apart. This smells like richness, like rich and opulence and wealth and well-being. And I mean, I can't speak highly enough of this fragrance. This is like a top gourmand for sure. The fragrance has a ton of vanilla. It has some citrusy notes. It's definitely sweet with a good bit. This is exquisite, guys. This is absolutely exquisite. But it opens sweet with a good bit of woodiness. It is powdery at the dry down, and it is a fragrance that, while being powdery at the dry down, it's not really about the powderiness. It's still about that gourmand blend, which at the dry down, by the way, you won't even be able to distinguish anything because the blend here is unbelievable. This is a fragrance that, this is the one fragrance that I would say that if you get your nose on it and you fall in love with it, I know that you're going to save your coin until you can pick it up, because it is pricey, but it is a fragrance that is so worth it. This is a totally different level gourmand, and this will not be for everybody because I think it does require a certain level of like nose, like your nose must have gone through some adjustments through time in order to really appreciate this fragrance. But I can't recommend this highly enough. For those of you who are true gourmand lovers, you know, you may have thought, well, if she's talking about fit for royalty fragrances that'll give you that royal feel, I don't think that a royal wants to smell like food. But if you smell like this, you are going to command attention. To me, this is a fragrance that is unisex, but leans a tad to the feminine side. But can I see a gentleman wearing this? Absolutely. This is also perfect for any season of the year, for any age, and for any occasion. Even though I don't wear this all the time because it is quite pricey, and I don't ever want to run out. But in addition to that, this is really a special kind of occasion gourmand for me. This is not the scent of just pulling it for everything or anything. No, this is really a special scent. The next fragrance that I have for you, and the last one that I'm going to share with you today, is one of my for life obsessions, because this fragrance, I just had a masterpiece fragrances video. I think it was last week, and this was included in the lineup, but I pulled it because I knew that I was going to film this video, and the vibe, the feel of this fragrance really speaks to royalty for sure for me. This is not just any scent. So this is from Guerlain, and this is Tobacco Honey. Now look at this beautiful, beautiful bottle. Now, do you guys know, and I talk about this all the time, but do you know how hard it is for me to have this level of a dent in any bottle in my collection? Well, that is Tobacco Honey. So I've also discussed with you through time that to me, one of the hardest notes to get right in a fragrance is the note of honey. But here, it has been done to perfection. This fragrance truly is all about the note of honey and the tobacco. I say the honey first and then the tobacco. The fragrance is sweet and it opens very sweet. So addictive. So addictive. It's not sweet to the point of being cloying, but it is a very sweet fragrance. And it opens with that honey clearly. But in addition to the honey, the opening is loaded to my nose, on my skin, and on paper. It is loaded with the note of vanilla. In addition to that vanilla, you're going to midway in the olfactory journey clearly pick up on the tobacco. And once the tobacco comes in, the tobacco is never going to leave. But the tobacco is not a dry tobacco to me. It's not a moist tobacco either. It's just the tobacco that has been drizzled with the honey, and they're playing very, very well together. It's like the scent of like tobacco. If you drizzled it with honey and then you came really close to sniff it, that's what I get with this fragrance. But I have to tell you, this is an absolute masterpiece. And this is, by the way, the perfumer behind it, because I have to give her credit, is Delphine Gel, which has so many incredible creations. But Tobacco Honey has got to be at the top of the list because this is absolutely incredible. The fragrance does have oud, and the oud here is to the tune of a 2 to a 3, more of a 3. But you don't have to be concerned because it is not a barnyardish oud whatsoever. I mean, Guerlain would just never do that. But it is a very pleasant oud that really, unless you're familiar and used to picking up on the note of oud, you're probably not even going to pick it up. You'll be too distracted and totally addicted to that tobacco honey effect. I'm not sure if there are any florals here, but again, I don't pick up on florals either, but sometimes they just don't disclose it, especially Guerlain. They really do not share all the notes that you can find in a fragrance, but I do not pick up on any florals. To me, again, this is all about the tobacco and the honey, and at that vanilla. But the one thing I will tell you is that as you're approaching the dry down, I pick up on like tonka, and that tonka comes in because the tonka will give the fragrance like that vanilla caramelly kind of quality. To me, it's like a mix of the vanilla and the tonka, which is why I think I sense like an overload of vanilla in this fragrance. And it's not almost, but truly the Guerlain vanilla, right? The vanilla we've all come to appreciate. I have to tell you, this is a fragrance that even if you're not into a tobacco fragrance, I predict that you're going to fall madly in love with it. Please let us know if any of you have picked it up, because I'm sure some of you definitely own this fragrance. To me, this is perfection for the fall and winter season. This is not a fragrance that you want to pick up during the summer. You can definitely wear it during the spring. You could really use it for any occasion, but I don't like to pull this just for everything because this is a fragrance that is so special that I like to reserve it for those times that I want to feel a certain kind of way, when I want to feel really regal and really special while beautiful and smelling fabulous. This is the fragrance that you want to pull. The performance is stellar because it does border on beast on my skin and on paper, giving me a strong projection during, I would say, a little bit over the 2-hour mark, and definitely continuing with a scent bubble. And it does become an intimate skin scent towards the end of the wear of the fragrance, but it takes quite a while for it to become intimate. It's always like projecting, and you're going to be smelling yourself. This is not one that I overspray either. First, it's very expensive, but number two, there's no need to overspray this fragrance. And when it comes to Guerlain, in my opinion, and this collection, less is best. Definitely. All right, fam. So we've reached the end of today's video, and I hope that this was enjoyable for you. I have to say that you just can't go wrong with any of these 7 fragrances. And I will leave a link to all of them. And if I can find decants, I will leave a link to decants also, because, you know, they are quite pricey. Are they worth every single penny? Yes, they are. These are the type of fragrances that I would highly recommend that you save up your money. That's what I did. You save up your money and then you pick them up. So the ones that I did pick up, that's how I was able to pick them up, because they are pricey, but to me, they're like an investment. These are fragrances that you're going to have in your collection for years to come, because as long as you take care of them and you don't expose them to extreme heat or light or anything like that, you're going to have them for years to come in your collection, and you are going to thoroughly enjoy them. Not just you, but all of those around you. Truly the feel and the vibe of royalty, which is what you deserve. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for hanging with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.